Good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to be learning about sets. So we're going to be learning about the basics of what sets really are. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to learn, guys, is about set notation and set nomenclature. So as you know, guys, the basic way of communicating in sets is by talking about set notation and set nomenclature. So let's do it. Set notation, okay? Set notation and nomenclature. Nomenclature, okay? Nomenclature, guys. Okay? So set notation and set nomenclature. So as you know, there are two ways of representing sets. One is roster form and the other is set builder form. So what we're going to do is we're first going to discuss roster form. So let's discuss roster form first. Okay, we are first going to discuss roster form. So basically, what is roster form? Okay, so guys, in roster form, in roster form, okay, so let's just do it. Okay. My memory is not the best. Okay, so in roster form, guys, in roster form, that's R, please understand. In roster form, all the elements, in roster form, all the elements of the set are always listed. So I hope you understand this. Okay, so this is basically set notation, guys. Roster form is set notation. Now the way you address that notation is nomenclature. So what you need to understand, guys, is that in roster form, all the elements, are always listed. In roster form, all the elements are always listed. Okay, all the elements of the set are always listed. Just keep that in your mind and just understand that if you are still confused, you are still not able to understand why is it so, don't worry, I'm going to give a demonstration. But I just want to give you guys enough time to really write this down in your notebooks. So guys, whenever I write something down, and I take time to erase it, just understand I want you to copy this down. So I'm going to take some few examples, but there are few things that you really have to take note of. There are few things you have to take note of, but I'm going to erase this and then I'll let you know. So just copy this down, guys, and then we'll move on. And one more thing I want to tell you guys is that there are two ways you can represent sets. One is roster form, the other is set builder form. Okay, we're going to get on to set builder form later on, very soon. And sets always follow some sort of criteria, guys. There's some sort of common knowledge or some sort of common sense, in roster form and in set builder form. And as I explain this to you and as we start studying this, you will start to understand what I mean. So you don't need to worry just yet. So I hope you've copied this down, So I'm going to erase this, and then there's no need for set notation and nomenclature anymore. I've stated the obvious of the chapter. So, okay. So now moving on, guys. So before I explain, there's one thing all of you need to note down. Okay? One thing you need to note down. Okay? This is something you better take note of it. Okay? Repetition, guys. Repetition of elements is not allowed. Okay? It is not allowed. That's one thing you have to really take care of. Okay? Now note this down as well. Okay, repetition of elements is not allowed. Now don't worry. What are elements here? I'll just explain that to you. Okay, let's take an example. So say for example, you have maybe all odd numbers. Say all odd numbers. Okay, all odd numbers. All odd numbers was less than 10. Okay, less than 10. Okay, all odd numbers less than 10. So we know, right? We know all odd numbers less than 10. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, isn't it? We know all odd numbers less than 10. So obviously there is no repetition of any number one more time. It's just one element of 1, one element of 3, one element of 5, one element of 7. So you do not repeat the same digit or the same alphabet, twice. No element is repeated twice. Okay? So I'll give you an example. So say you have say maybe the Fibonacci series. Okay, so we already know how the Fibonacci series it really goes. We all know that. So obviously in the Fibonacci series, you also have something, but I will explain that. I'll explain that later. Just ignore the Fibonacci series right now because something else came in my mind. But all I'm saying is that you can't repeat the digits. Just remember that. Okay, you can't repeat the digits. Just remember that. Again, one more thing, like for example, my name. Okay, guys, my name is Raja. Okay, my name is Raja. Okay. Yeah, but if you really look at my fitness, I don't really stand by my name. If you're Indian, you'll understand. If you're not, I feel sorry for you. So this is my name. Okay, let me just leave it on. So now, how do I write my name in roster form? This is how you write my name in roster form. R-A-J. That's it. Okay. This is not roster form, which I'm about to write. R-A-J-A. Okay. This is not roster form. I cannot, although I have two A's in my name, I can't repeat it. That is why I said repetition is not allowed. Okay, that's why I said repetition is not allowed. So just keep that in your mind. That repetition is not going to work here. It's not going to work at all. Okay? So, so that's just how it is. So now let's move on to set builder form. Okay? Let's move on to set builder form. Don't worry guys, when I start doing chapter exercises on all these on all these topics, and all these forms, you'll understand it better. Right now I'm just focusing on the theory to get you familiar, just to familiarize you, acquaint you with the so-called theory. So now we're gonna do set builder form. Okay? Set builder form now. So set builder form. It really has a good ring to it, set builder form. Now the reason why I say that set builder form has a good ring to it. Now this is a no, it's not an A, but the way I've written it looks. So it's set builder form, not set builder form. For those who are completely oblivious to sets, you understand that. So it has a nice ring to it. Just like you build your concepts in, mathematics, in the same way, in this sort of a set, you're sort of building on the concept, element after element after element. If you're someone into mathematics, you'll know what I mean. But anyways, so in set builder form, all the elements of the set possess a common property. So, okay, in set builder form, guys. In set builder form. the elements, you can say all the elements possess or contain. You can also say possess or contain. All the elements, okay, all the elements, guys, my apologies. All the elements of the sets, the sets, okay, all the elements of the sets, sorry guys, all the elements of the set. So there's no S. All the element of the set, you can say contains, or I would just say possesses is a common property, guys. Possesses a common property. You can also use the word contain. Okay, you can also use that word. It's not a problem. I'm having a problem writing P. Oh God, can't get my ABCs right, I guess. Okay, possess. Okay, a common property. Common property. Okay, don't worry if you don't understand what I am talking about right now. I'm going to explain it. So if you're oblivious to this and you think I'm talking about real estate, you are wrong. Although I could really relate it to real estate. I'm a mathematician. I can relate anything to anything. That's my job. That's our actual job. To get two unrelated things and relate them. That's the real job of a mathematician. But today, everything has become so bookish. We've just forgot that mathematics can also be creative. Anyways, I'm not going to drift away. So let's really do this. So we are going to, I'm going to give you an example. But one thing you have to note here, guys, is that this is the exact opposite of roster form. Now you'll understand this very later. So I hope you've copied this down. So let's go. So we don't need set builder form again. It doesn't make sense for us to have it. So let's move on now. Can 100% move on. Okay. So what was I saying? Okay, yeah. Note this down. Now this isn't something that you should really note down, but it's an observation to keep in your mind to understand the difference between set builder form and roster form. Because if you ask the definition of it in a test or an exam, then you'll at least know how to prove your point. So just for observation, it is the exact opposite of roster form. Okay? It's the exact opposite of roster form. Just keep it in your mind, in your oblivious mind. Okay? Just keep it in your mind, not in your oblivious mind. Just in your mind, just keep it. Okay, so let's take an example. So, for example, let's take in roster form you have A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. So this is in roster form. So now I'm going to put this in set builder form. So what is this? Guys? What is common? What is the common property in all these elements? The common property is that they are all vowels, isn't it? That's the common property in it, isn't it? So that is why this is how you answer this question. Okay? You have to be very careful. You have to always write it like this. And then you just write vowels of the English alphabet. Okay? Vowels of the English alphabet. That's how you write. Now just excuse my spelling mistakes if I made any. I'm so focused on teaching you that I'm not really focused whether I'm spelling anything right or wrong. So if there is any spelling mistake, I apologize from my side. And sometimes my spelling mistakes can go unnoticed. So please put them in the link in the description below. Like put them in the comments below. You know, and just keep on telling me, because sometimes when I'm teaching, even I'm not aware. I can even spell my name wrong because I'm focused. So anytime you see any spelling mistake, even if it's the most basic thing, just put it in the comments below, guys. If I'm to really help you guys become better mathematicians, my spelling should at least be correct. So this is one example of it. So you could also have all the how much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could have all 21 consonants, and then you could just list all 21 consonants. For set builder form, you could just do this, write this, and then you could just do this. If it was A, B, if it was all the consonants, okay? B, C, D, F, G, J, K, that's how you could do it. Well, okay, so now we're going to talk about empty set. Okay, it's a very interesting set. So guys, I hope you have copied this down. I hope you've taken it down. Like I said, guys, I'll remind you once again that I deliberately leave it there after I write it for a couple of minutes, so that you note it down as well. So I'm not going to repeat that anymore. That's just a reminder from my side. It looks weird to repeat the same thing again. Okay, so now we're going to talk about empty set.